can salt lose its saltiness? I was always confused about the meaning of Matthew 5:13. You are the salt of the earth, but if salt has lost its taste, how can its saltiness be restored? It is no longer good for anything, but is thrown out and trampled underfoot. I didn't understand the analogy of salt losing its saltiness. Have any of you ever added too much salt to your food and tried to get rid of the salty taste? It's nearly impossible. Joe and I had a housemate who we literally had to ban from adding salt because when he cooked, it was so salty you couldn't eat it. To help me understand this passage, I decided to research more about salt and Jesus. According to the History Channel, there are currently more than 14,000 uses of salt. First, our bodies cannot live without salt. Salt is essential for all of life. Salt is used for preserving food as well as for its flavor. Salt is considered one of the most basic of human taste. In ancient times, roads were developed because of the salt trade. Sometimes Roman soldiers were paid in salt. In fact, the word salary came from the Latin word salarium. The phrase not worth his salt came from the Roman Empire. Salt is used multiple times in the Bible. A covenant of salt is used to describe God's covenant, and on 3 occasions in the Hebrew Bible. In the book of Leviticus, all grain offerings are to be seasoned with salt. Leviticus 2:13 reads, "You shall not omit from your grain offerings the salt of the covenant with your God. With all your offerings, you shall offer salt." Paul stated in Colossians 4:6, "Let your speech always be gracious." Is this echoing really bad? It feels like it is. Okay.
I'll go with it.
Let your speech always be gracious, seasoned with salt, so that you may know how you ought to answer everyone. Salt is also used in various religions for protection. If you ever watched the show Supernatural, one of the first things the hunters do is salt and burn the bodies of those troublesome spirits. Ultimately, after looking at several Bibles and commentary, the consensus is that Matthew 5:13 speaks about not wasting the gifts that God has given you. In fact, you should use them for the world instead of for yourself. When you look at the rest of Matthew 5, you see that both your salt and light are meant to serve others. It does not matter how many gifts and talents you have. If you keep them hidden instead of letting them shine, you waste them. It's Super Bowl Sunday, so I thought I would use a football analogy. Imagine your team has a great quarterback. He was the best college quarterback out there, and you got him. The game is almost over. Your team is 5 points down, and the coach decides to leave the quarterback sitting on the bench. It doesn't matter how good he is, he's just sitting on the bench, so you lose the game, and his talents were wasted. We all have gifts that God gave us. Imagine how God feels when we just leave our gifts sitting on the bench instead of using them for good. Paul, in 1 Corinthians 12:7 states, "To each is given the manifestation of the Spirit for the common good." 1 Peter 4:10 reads, "Like good stewards of the manifold grace of God, serve one another with whatever gift each of you has received." So why don't we use our gifts more often? It might be that you are just not comfortable with the person God made you to be. Or it might be that you just don't think you have enough time to get out and do anything. Let's start with the fact that some people are just not comfortable being who they are. Have any of you ever taken the Myers-Briggs personality test? So I am an ENTJ, which stands for extrovert, intuitive, thinking, and judging. We tend to be very decisive, assertive, logical, and very action-oriented. Some see us as coming across as too direct, too controlling, and too serious. As far back as I can remember, I struggled with people telling me I needed to smile more, and that they confused my passion with anger. Now, after a while, I really started to think there was something wrong with me. So I started faking it and trying to be different. Of course, that didn't work. When I became a Christian and started going to seminary, I took a class on spiritual formation. The first thing our professor had us do was take this Myers-Briggs personality test so that we could learn about our own personalities. He really felt that we were made as we are for a reason, so that we needed to understand our personalities so we could understand how we use them for God's purpose. We had to read this book called Invitation to a Journey by Professor of New Testament Robert Mulholland. Mulholland defined spiritual formation as a process of being conformed to the image of Christ for the sake of others. He actually went into detail about each Myers-Briggs personality type and explained how you should pursue your spiritual path based on your personality. For example, according to Mulholland, my spiritual path tends to focus on the world and others. 1 Corinthians 12:14-21 reminds us how all of our distinct personalities and gifts are valuable to the entire church body. In fact, Mulholland, to drive the point home, actually replaced the body parts in the passage with these Myers-Briggs personality types. For example, instead of saying, if the foot would say, because I am not a hand, I do not belong to the body, that would not make it any less part of the body. He wrote, if the INTJ would say, because I am not an ESFP, I do not belong to the body, that would not make it any less a part of the body. So he went through and did that whole passage, replacing it with that Myers-Briggs personality. Chaplain Maddox, the chaplain of the Mecklenburg County Jail, always asks us whenever I'm trying to figure something out, or if I'm trying to figure out what I should do or say. I'm also doing part of my internship at the county jail. She would ask me bluntly, do you? In my first week of class this semester, we had to read a book called An Altar in the World by Barbara Brown Taylor. Taylor's point is that an altar can be anywhere, and that we should look for God in everyday life. And this includes being ourselves and loving ourselves for who we are. In fact, she actually suggests that we stand naked in front of a mirror and proclaim, here I am. This is the body like no other that my life has shaped. I live here. This is my soul's address. When the Lord asked Moses to confront Pharaoh, Moses argued that he was slow of speech. Moses said to the Lord, "Oh, my Lord, I have never been eloquent, neither in the past, nor even now that you have spoken to your servant. But I am slow of speech and slow of tongue." The Lord responded to him, "Who gives speech to mortals? Who makes them deaf or mute, seeing or blind? Is it not I, the Lord? Now go, and I will be with your mouth and teach you what to say." But Moses said, "Oh, my Lord, please, send someone else." Of course, God provided and sent Aaron to help him. Moses did not accept himself for who he was. Imagine if Moses chose to hide away instead of facing Pharaoh because he was afraid of what others would think. When we are not ourselves, we waste our gifts and talents that God has given us. We cannot be a beacon of light in the world when we keep parts of ourselves hidden from the world. Plus, when we make fun of someone's personality and tell him or her, for example, to be more serious or to smile more, we make that person feel like there is something wrong with him or her. Instead of telling a person who is a clown to be more serious, maybe say, "You know what? I like hanging around with you because you make me smile." Instead of telling a serious person to smile more, ask him for advice on a project or idea. If you really are legitimately worried that the person is upset and needs to smile, then do something to make him or her smile. Think about it this way. How worse off does it make you feel when you've been up all night, you've been working on a project, and you get up the next morning, you go into work, you're tired and you're dragging, and one of your coworkers comes up to you and says, "You look so tired." You're probably thinking, "Gee, thanks, that's just what I wanted to hear." Sadly, many of us know we have gifts to offer, but instead we choose to come up with excuses for not using them. How often do we choose not to do something and use the excuse, "I would love to, but I just don't have the time"? Let me ask you something. Do you find time to watch your favorite TV show or play that video game? Do you really not have the time, or are you just choosing to do something else with your time? Like that quarterback I used in my example earlier, it does us no good if we have all these best gifts in the world, but we just sit on the sidelines or, on our cases, our couches. Jesus knew all too well about excuses. While Jesus was visiting Capernaum, he had several would-be disciples claim they would follow him. Matthew 8:21-22 reads, "Another of his disciples said to him, 'Lord, first let me go and bury my father.' But Jesus said to him, 'Follow me and let the dead bury their own dead.'" On the surface, it seems odd that Jesus would not have the compassion to let the man go and bury his father. But when you think about it, have you ever known somebody that comes up with excuses all the time for everything? You know they're going to come up with an excuse, so you don't expect him to show up. Jesus probably knew that this guy, no matter what he did, he's going to keep coming up with excuses. My 2-year-old Sammy loves the Disney Cars movie. In fact, every morning he has to put on this Cars movie. So I have Cars on the brain. That's okay, because it has a perfect example of wasting our gifts. Doc Hudson was a famous race car. He had a wreck, and after that, just started feeling sorry for himself. So he went and hid out and disappeared in a small, forgotten town of Radiator Springs, where no one knew who he was. The town is falling apart. No one travels there due to the construction of I-40. Ultimately, a young, talented race car named Lightning McQueen gets stranded there and becomes a beacon of light for that town. He also becomes a light that inspires Doc Hudson to get out there again and use his talents to serve the world. In the end of the movie, the town is lit up and flourishing again. Imagine if McQueen hadn't used his gifts to inspire Doc Hudson and that town, the town would still be dying. Matthew, the tax collector, was not using his gifts for God's purpose. Instead, he was working hand to hand with the corrupt Roman government to help steal money from the poor to pay taxes. His gifts as an apostle were wasting away as he chose the easy, comfortable path of tax collecting. Of course, he had plenty of money, and he probably believed that he didn't have a choice, so he had to do it because he couldn't afford to do anything else. But it took being face-to-face with Jesus to open his eyes, to let him know that he had a greater purpose for serving the world rather than himself. Growing up with a single mother, we struggled with money for basic things like food and utilities. I cannot count the number of Christians who said they would pray for us, but not a single one of them actually offered to help or gave us anything we needed. Scripture speaks to this in James 2:14-16. "What good is it, my brothers and sisters, if you say you have faith, but do not have works? Can faith save you? If a brother or sister is naked and lacks daily food, and one of you says to them, 'Go in peace, keep warm, and eat your fill,' and yet you do not supply their bodily needs, what is the good of that? So faith by itself, if it has no works, is dead." Sure, some of us have the gift of intercession and can pray on others' behalf, but imagine if Jesus only prayed about the food and didn't multiply the food when he was trying to feed the 5,000. We are living in dark times. We need your light now more than ever. Darkness cannot exist where there is light. We can all be a light so bright that no one can ignore us. So figure out what sort of gifts God has given you and go out there and use them to bring good in the world. Don't just talk about it. John instructs us in 1 John 3:18, "Little children, let us love, not in word or speech, but in truth and action." If you are not using your gift to help those in need, then you're wasting them. Your salt is good for nothing, and your light has been snuffed out. So turn off the TV, get off the couch, turn off the video game, and look up from your smartphone. And get your quarterback off the bench, and get out there and do something. Let us all get out into the world and let our light shine like a beacon on the hill. Let us all be salty, bright, and good. Amen.
Excellent.